What kind of bizarre criminal is this, knowing the police are about to arrive? He deliberately strips naked and waits at home, calmly allowing himself to be arrested when they get there. He even taunts the police to search his house. So they do, but find nothing except shelves full of legal books. Now here's the question, why would a dangerous criminal go to the trouble of studying so much law? The police suddenly notice a photo on the wall showing Clyde's enemies shaking hands with prosecutor Nick. It turns out Clyde wants revenge on Nick. When Nick hears about this, he is lured into the prison. Nick asks him, "Did you kill?" He admits it without hesitation. Nick smiles, thinking the case is too easy. But then Clyde laughs and says, "Do you think my confession alone is enough to convict me?" It turns out Clyde has thoroughly studied the law. His so-called confession is legally meaningless and cannot be used to secure a conviction. Nick asks, "Then what do you want?" Clyde says, "Today, I want to negotiate with you." It turns out that 10 years ago, Clyde's wife and daughter were murdered by a scumbag. At the time, the lawyer handling the case, in order to maintain his 96% conviction rate, struck a deal with the other side and let the real killer walk free. That's why Clyde now seeks revenge. Clyde says that if you want him to confess, you have to move the softest mattress into his cell. Nick refuses. Meanwhile, Nick doesn't know that a videotape has already been delivered to his house. His young daughter innocently plays it, and it shows the brutal murder of that scumbag. The little girl is terrified and starts crying. However, because the killer is wearing a mask, the police cannot convict the criminal. Helpless, Nick finally agrees to Clyde's demand. Soon, a mattress is delivered to the prison, causing a stir among the inmates. A few days later, the trial begins. The prosecutors hope the judge will not release Clyde, but to everyone's surprise, Clyde stands up to defend himself. His argument is well-structured and logically sound. He even cites similar cases to prove his innocence. The lawyers present are stunned. In the end, the judge has no choice but to announce Clyde's immediate release. But Clyde begins to mock the judge. "I'm guilty, and yet you're letting me go. Isn't this exactly what happened 10 years ago when you released the scumbag who killed my wife and daughter?" It turns out the judge is the very person who presided over that case 10 years ago. Then Clyde suddenly confesses in court and publicly slaps the judge across the face. The judge is furious and orders Clyde to be thrown back into prison. Later, Nick visits Clyde again, but Clyde makes a new demand. "At exactly 2 p.m. today, I want a Michelin steak." Nick refuses, but then Clyde says the lawyer who defended that scumbag back then is about to die. Nick is shocked and rushes to check. Sure enough, the lawyer has been missing for 3 days. They quickly buy the steak for Clyde. However, the prison warden, displeased with the situation, deliberately delays the delivery of the steak by 8 minutes. Then Clyde gives Nick the location of the lawyer. Nick rushes there, finds the lawyer's suitcase, and they start digging. Finally, they find the lawyer, but there are no signs of life. The time of death, exactly 8 minutes ago.